Everybody, welcome to the Morristown Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. And Margot, please take it away.
I, Margot GK, the Town Clerk of the Town of Morristown, do hereby state that it is 7:32 p.m. on Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, and that this regular hybrid meeting is being held via webinar and in person. Both adequate and electronic notice of this meeting were provided according to law by written notice to the Morristown Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Town of Morristown, and to the Newark Star-Ledger, both more than 48 hours ago. Notice was also posted in Town Hall and on the town website and filed with the office of the Town Clerk of the Town of Morristown. I do further state that I shall enter into the minutes of this meeting a statement that such notice was furnished as particularly described by me in this public announcement. Take a roll call. Councilman Armington.
Here.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Present.
Councilman Foster.
Here.
Councilman Iannacone.
Here.
Councilman Silva is excused this evening. Councilman Umbriac.
Here.
Councilwoman Mayer.
Here.
Council President Mayer, excuse me.
I'm here too.
Ms. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. If we could go into a moment of silence, please. Thank you, and if everybody would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started, please be aware that public comment during the public hearing portions of this meeting will be held both in person and through the Zoom app. At the appropriate time, members of the public wishing to speak should indicate so by raising his or her hand in chambers or in the app. To comment via Zoom, click on the raise your hand icon at the bottom left side of your screen. You may also raise your hand by pressing *9 on your phone. When it is your turn, the moderator will send a signal through the app and ask that you unmute yourself so that you may be heard. To unmute yourself on the phone, press *6. We have, 6 items on the consent agenda this evening. Are there any items that members of council wish to pull for separate consideration? If not, I would ask for a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
A second.
Okay. On the adoption of the consent agenda, Councilman Armington.
Here. Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriac.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Okay. Again, at this time, I will open the floor for a public hearing on any matter. For remote members of the public, please raise your hand in the Zoom app to indicate that you would like to speak. If you've joined the meeting via telephone, press *9. Kindly state your name and address and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Be advised that any derogatory comments targeting members of council and/or administration may be ruled out of order. No comments were received via email.
Is there anybody here? No.
Where?
Jillian, is there anybody on Zoom?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Move on.
Nope. Well, at this time, we do have 2 items for public hearing. The first is Homeless Solutions, Inc., County of Morris, fiscal year 2023 CDBG application for child care scholarships. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on that application? No, I will close that public hearing.
Thank you.
We also have Homeless Solutions, Inc., County of Morris, fiscal year 2023 ESG application for emergency shelter. Any members of the public wishing to speak?
Sorry.
The public hearing is closed.
Any other matter?
We already did it.
Okay, council response. We have no council response. Mayor Doherty,
Yes.
we're up for mayor's proclamations and presentation, please.
Okay.
Mayor, you got some. We could do a few things. Pastor, can you blow the
I don't know if it's cold.
There we go.
You take a picture.
This is Pastor Lance Mann. In case you don't know who it is, you want to introduce yourself to the council?
Hi, I'm Pastor Lance Mann, Union Baptist Church here in Morristown. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah. So he's here to accept the Black History Month proclamation. You were so kind to join us up here, and I've had the pleasure of talking to the pastor a few times, and if you were at the services for MLK Day, you would have got a very short version of the powerful speaker that he is, and the message that he sends, and waiting for a full invitation for everybody to come to the church.
Absolutely. It's coming real soon.
All right. Okay.
In fact, let's do it now. You all are welcome.
Beautiful. All right, so whereas the origin of Black History Month began in 1915, a half a century after the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery in the United States, and to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, it grew out of the Negro History Week, was the creation of noted historian Carter G. Woodson of other prominent African Americans. And with the Civil Rights Movement and the growing awareness of Black identity, Black History Month, or National African American History Month, evolved to an annual celebration of achievements by Black Americans and a time for recognizing the central role of African Americans in the United States history. These accomplishments are even more remarkable as they were won at a great cost and with much struggle and sacrifice by men and women in chains and servitudes. The contribution of African Americans from all walks of life and their endeavors to learn and thrive throughout history and make unforgettable marks in our nation as artists, scientists, educators, business leaders, influential thinkers, members of the faith community, athletes, political and governmental leaders reflects the greatness of the United States. Remaining hopeful and confident about the path ahead and a time to acknowledge the courageous fight for the rights, liberties, and freedoms for all Americans, Morristown observes and honors Black History Month. Now therefore, I, Timothy P. Doherty, Mayor of the town of Morristown, do hereby proclaim February 2023 as Black History Month in the town of Morristown, and ask that the Morristown community join me in recognizing the tremendous contributions made by African Americans and encourage all residents to honor Black American history and culture. Pastor, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And accepting this on behalf of the town of Morristown. And if you want to say a few words before you leave, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Thank you, Council President, Business Administrator, to all of the Council. I am as honored to accept this proclamation to signal the beginning of Black History Month. It is, Black history is not something just relegated to 28 days. It is American history. And we are grateful that this administration and this city is doing its part to recognize the contributions of people that look like me who helped blaze trails to allow our country to be where it is today. I am more honored because I've only been here in the city of Morristown. Next month will be officially a year that I started my tenure as pastor of Union Baptist Church. And let me just say this, I'm excited to get to work with any kind of help I can offer any of you. The mayor and I are already planning to work something. Councilwoman Foster is a member of our church, and we are excited, and her family's been longtime members of our church. So we're excited about it, and I look forward to being a part of this community for a long, long time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Pastor. We really appreciate those kind words and great words for our public. January 13th, the grand opening for those who came and had some gelato and some ice cream, Council President. They had a grand opening ribbon cutting of Gary Arrow's Gelato at 64 South Street. So if you like ice cream, dairy-free ice cream, gelato, they got all kinds of flavors, pretty cool. New business in town, so we welcomed in, and we had a great turnout. I couldn't believe how many people were there. So thank you for all the council members that showed up. It was a good ribbon cutting. Monday, January 16th, we had the Martin Luther King Observance Committee held its 53rd King Day celebration under the theme, From Dream to Action, Healing Our Divisions at Calvary Baptist Church. and we were inspired by a preacher, Dr. Jefferson, who I've known for a number of years. He made a couple comments while I was up there, directed it my way. He is a great speaker, gave a great message, and for those who were there, it was a really a great speech, and inspiring, and really put things in perspective on how he felt about how he portrayed Martin Luther King in the speech that he gave. So thank you to him. He is the pastor of Reverend Jerry Carter at Calvary, so it's a really great connection. On Saturday, February 11th, 10 a.m., Cupid's Chase 5K, start and finish 150 to 152 Speedwell Avenue parking lot. Anybody doing it?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. All right, so that's February 11th, so mark your calendars. Reminders and announcements. Residents are reminded to always report power outages to JCP&L. You can go online, firstenergycorp.com/outages. You can call 888-544-4877 or text out 544-444-87. And the reason why I bring that up, because we're in for some wet weather tomorrow. Some snow, some ice, some wind, some rain, but a lot of wind. So it's going to be a little winter mix tomorrow that could bring some icy conditions. So please be careful and post that out. We'll post it on the website. I want to remind everybody the 15th of this February 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Burnham Park Revitalization Plan Community Meeting will be held in the Senior Center. That is February 15th at 6:30 p.m. here at our Senior Center for the Burnham Park Revitalization Plan Community Meeting, which we have anticipated now for a couple of months. And that's moving forward, so we're happy about that, excited about it.
So, Mayor, is the revitalization plan the same as the master plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So get it out there, and I know it'll be well attended, and we look forward to it. I think that's it. Jillian, do you have anything? David? Nothing? Council President? That's all I have.
Moving on to council liaison reports. Nathan, you want to start at your end?
Sure. The Morristown Partnership met on January 11th for their reorganization meeting, where Jennifer presented an overview of their 2022 accomplishments, just to highlight what was accomplished in 2022, connecting with 30-plus businesses that opened or relocated to Morristown this year, Morristown Restaurant Week, the Farmers Market, Meet Me in Morristown in partnership with Morris Arts, Morristown's Excellent Adventure in partnership with Morristown Recreation, the Festival on the Green, Downtown Halloween Trick-or-Treating, and of course the Christmas Festival on the Green. The Morristown Partnership's goals for 2023 include organization, design, promotion, and economic vitality, and their next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, February 8th at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Luana?
I'm sorry, one second. Okay. This Saturday, January 26th, 12 to 3 p.m., Shade Tree Commission will be cardboard and mulching a new woodland area in Ledgerwood at the back of the park by the fence line. They need volunteers. Ash and dead tree toppings to begin in Foots Pond Wood in February. Jacob Ford Slope seeding will happen in February. On Saturday, May 6th, Shade Tree has 3 events. 10 a.m. Arbor Day event, which will be sponsored by the Rotary Club. The celebration will be Saturday, May 6th at 10 a.m. 1 to 3 p.m. Tree seedling giveaway and native plant pickup in the Town Hall parking lot from 1 to 3 p.m. Details and press release to follow. Thank you.
Last night, I went to my first meeting of the Housing Authority. Keith Kennard, the Executive Director, reported out first on the status of the construction at both Early and Ann Street. At 21 and 39 Early Street, the construction is proceeding. I think, Mary, you had a visit there, and the facade is going pretty well, and I heard they lifted you up.
I was on the cherry picker, pretty high up. Yeah.
That's what I heard. And then at 21 Early, 20 of the units are currently being renovated with the residents temporarily relocated off-site. At 29 Ann Street, Keith advised the board that they were arranging for a meeting between the management company to meet with the residents one day in the first 2 weeks of February, and then every month thereafter, which is very good. Thereafter, what they're going to do is review the concerns. It's going to be an open meeting that will occur monthly with Keith and with the management company monthly at Ann Street. He advised that the topics for the first meeting will include an explanation on how to use the building electronics, and such as the door entry systems, and also how to use the appliances, the new appliances in the units, which is good, very good. Keith reported that he's not getting many complaints from the people living in Ann Street, and when he does receive a complaint, he immediately turns them over to the management company, who is responsible for addressing those complaints. Manahan Village sale to the RAD was completed in December, and the funds for that sale basically are paid over time. Under the terms of the sale, there is a transitional services agreement where the Morristown Housing Authority continues to provide certain services through the end of June. After June, all the services provided at all four of the sites will be actually provided by the management company. There will be a meeting with the residents of Manahan Village shortly to explain the new voucher system and the new form of lease. The renovations at Manahan Village by the RAD should start in late spring or early summer. Now, interestingly, what Keith also pointed out is in the management budget, there is a budget line for about 70 to 100% of a police officer in the management company coming out of the management funds, which is something he's following up with the town about, which is good, added security for Manahan Village. No financials were presented to the board last night. The sale of Manahan Village over time is going to produce a revenue stream of about $30 million to the Morristown Housing Authority. Keith will be working with the board and with others to develop a plan for how those funds are going to be managed and how those funds should be, if spent. Or do you invest it? Do you use the funds? Is it social services? What is it that is going to be done with these funds? The Morristown Housing Authority continues to work with CSG, who you might remember is the financial consultant with reference to the RAD. And currently they are interviewing for a chief financial officer. Keith then reported out on the activities of the Morristown Community Development Corporation. That is a corporation. It's a private non-member corporation which is initially funded with about $250,000 from the Morristown Housing Authority as seed money, startup money. That is a private non-member corporation. The connection between the Housing Authority and the Morristown Community Development Corporation is that initially in the first year, 3 of the 7 board members are appointed by the Morristown Housing Authority. In the second year of its operation, that does drop to 2 of the 7 board members. Keith did report out that organization is looking into funding and other opportunities associated with providing private low and moderate income in the town. So, for example, they're working with a developer who basically is building a building, and they're investigating the possibility of acquiring and turning that building totally over into low and moderate income housing. And again, when they talk about low and moderate income housing in this model, they're talking primarily about Section 8. And they're working on applying for some grant funds, community block grants. So, they were assisting that corporation, and that corporation was looking for funding to provide other low and moderate income housing opportunities in town. The meeting was hybrid last night, but I will tell you, I was a little surprised. One person was there. They had complaints about, some complaints personally about their apartment, but attendance was low. The board, I will tell you that the other actions on the board last night was the board currently meets the 4th Monday of every month. The board voted last night to amend the bylaws to permit rescheduling, quote unquote, as deemed necessary to avoid conflict with essential dates through the year. This resolution was then followed by request to move the September date so it didn't conflict with the Yom Kippur, and they voted that down, which I was a bit surprised about. But they enabled themselves to change the date, and then when requested to change the date for Yom Kippur, they actually voted that down. I don't know. There was no committee reports, there was no old business, and that's my report. Sure.
Quickly on the parking authority, they're in the process, everybody knows they're looking for help, so they have hired a couple of people for the parking enforcement jobs, the monitoring the booths. They're still looking for people. They're also looking to upgrade their software and their systems, their scan card systems. So that's a work in progress that I'll be updated on shortly. And now we are on to regular business, Margot.
Okay, there are three ordinances on the agenda for introduction. Ordinance number O-2-2023, ordinance providing for certain capital improvements at the Morristown Municipal Airport by the Town of Morristown and the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, and appropriating $1 million therefore to finance part of the cost thereof.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-2-2023.
A second.
Are there any comments or questions from council at this time? Okay, ordinance O-2-2023 has been properly introduced by title and will be considered further after a public hearing on February 14th. Ordinance wait, did I
Madam
take a roll
Clerk, I think
call?
we need a vote on that. Thank
So
you.
sorry. On the introduction of ordinance O-2-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriack.
Yes.
Umbriack. Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Sorry. It's been properly introduced by title and will be considered further after a public hearing on February 14th. Ordinance O-3-2023, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 4, Section 5, sidewalk cafes.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-3-2023.
A second.
Any comments or questions from council? Yes, sir.
So, this is basically an increase in the fee structure. Can you explain, or can the administration explain the administrative oversight or duties, basically, the extent of the level of effort to provide the licensing and make sure that it occurs, or is this primarily a sort of rental space on the land that they're using, which is why that I think it's probably like I think I figured out it's about $3 a month per seat or something like that
It's not quite that complicated. I guess it could be if you wanted it to be.
No, just curious.
So the thought process behind it is sidewalk cafes do require quite a bit of administrative time, the review process. It goes through various departments for approvals. There tends to be a lot of inspections and follow-up because sometimes people set up the cafes not realizing that they need that. So there's a lot of time and effort that does go into it, a lot of tracking. And for purposes of revenue, speaking with other clerks, and I use the Summit Code as an example, based on the size of the cafe, as well as whether or not they have a liquor license, affects how much the fee is. So I took Summit's ordinance and I just, multiplied it in even figures up. They base their numbers, which are very close to the numbers I'm proposing, on health fees. I did not go to that level of detail. I could, but it was dollars here and there. So I just rounded it to the next. And my thinking was that you have an ice cream store that has 4 seats out front, and then you have a big booming restaurant with a liquor license paying the same $250.
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel for the little guys. And since a lot of work does go into it, particularly for the bigger restaurants with the liquor license, I felt it was a good change.
So basically, as I understand it, we're heavily subsidizing the small people. We're probably also subsidizing the big people, but just not as much because they're bigger and they're paying a higher rate. but,
That's, yes.
I looked at it from a real estate perspective in terms of renting sidewalk public property from, as a private entity, and it ended up being about $3 a seat per month or something like that, which seems pretty reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's, the cafes are good, 364 days a year, so
Yeah.
they could be out there serving as much as they wish.
Climate change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it. Yeah, I mean,
You did a fine job.
I would echo what Margot's saying as far as the level of effort. There's certainly substantial effort, particularly out of the clerk's office with the initial licensing process and making sure the paperwork is filed and following up with people to make sure they submit their insurance and all kinds of other things. That takes a lot of time. But then throughout the year, the cafes are inspected regularly. And that takes up a substantial amount of time. And some of these large cafes have a lot of seating, so I think it's reasonable to have a sliding scale.
Yeah.
So that was the ordinance I drafted, and that's what I am proposing, so.
Nice. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, on the introduction of ordinance O-3-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Ordinance 3-2023 has been introduced properly by title and will be considered after a public hearing on February 14th. Ordinance number O-4-2023, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Town of Morristown, Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-40.2, handicap parking on streets for private residences, to amend the placard number assigned to a dedicated parking space for a resident of 9 Cobb Place.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-4-2023.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? On the introduction of ordinance O-4-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Ordinance 4-2023 has been introduced properly by title and will be considered further after a public hearing on February 14th. There's one ordinance for public hearing and adoption, and that's ordinance number O-1-2023, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Town of Morristown, Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 40.2, handicap parking on streets for private residences, to add a dedicated handicap parking space for a resident of 50 Pine Street.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-1-2023.
I'll second.
At this time, I'll open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance O-1-2023 only. No comment. I will close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council? On the adoption of ordinance 1-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Ordinance 1-2023 is adopted. We have 3 resolutions on the agenda. Would any member of council like to pull them for separate consideration? If not, I would ask for a motion to adopt resolutions 31, 2023 through 33, 2023 en masse.
I'll make a motion to adopt in mass resolutions R31, 2023, 32, 2023, 33, 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, on the adoption of those resolutions, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Those resolutions are adopted.
So any unfinished old business? Looks like no.
I have a
New
question.
business? Sure.
I received this notice from the Passaic River Coalition, and at the bottom it says there's an annual municipality dues of $250. Do we contribute that, or is that, do we know if that's, or is that sort of a voluntary thing and we don't do it? Just curious.
Councilman, honestly, I'd have to look into it.
Okay, thank you. Let us know at the next meeting, please. Thanks. Sure. If not, I'll contribute it myself, so.
Such a
And I believe we are calling for an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
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 Okay,
I didn't gavel it up. Go ahead, Martha.
all in favor? Opposed?
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
Stole her first gavel.